Hey guys, welcome back, and it's one of my best of 2022 lists, and it's time to finally give you my list of top 10 supporting actress uh, performances from the past year. Definitely, this has been a really tough year for me to make a top 10 list of things. I did see almost 300 films this year, so um, I don't know if I'm gonna go for a 10 in the next year. There may be higher numbers. I may not put a limit, but I did top 10 lists all across the board this year. This list I think will piss some people off, but I have a lot of people on here who haven't been recognized for their work by other awards bodies. I have some that do. I have three people on here who are nominated for Academy Awards this year. Now you're wondering which three. I have somebody who was nominated for a Golden Globe Award but didn't make it to the Oscar ceremony. So it's not like my awards are completely without merit, but I also am just me, and I really do not give a shit what other awards bodies vote for. It's about the performances that I connect with, the performances that I like, and uh, technically there is a fourth Oscar-nominated performance in here. I just believe it belonged in this category. So, maybe that's a dead giveaway. um, I will tell you, in case you're wondering what my tastes are and how bold am I willing to go with my votes. Last year, I picked Katherine Hunter from the Tragedy of Macbeth, whose performance had almost zero Oscar buzz, but she was phenomenal, and she was my pick for Best Supporting Actress last year. So who did I pick this year? Just gonna have to wait till I get to number one to find out. This is a really hard list to make. Like I said, I ended up removing people and cutting people off from the list at the last moment. That 10th spot is always really tough because it actually, like, when you get down to like 8, 9, and 10, you realize you're like, oh shit, I have a lot of people that I have to keep on here, and I want to keep, I have to keep, oh, I should keep, finally I got to 10, and I could have gone many different ways with this, and there are people who have been recognized for things who people have talked about, and then there's one name that hasn't been really talked about, and I thought she blew me away. Um, I'm I really could not fit in the entire cast of this film. It's really hard. I mentioned in my review, and I mentioned when I gave this film the award for Best Ensemble, that it was really impossible to talk about or to choose one performance. And then I did. But I did it because their name is not as big. When this film was out there in the world, everybody kept talking about, will it be Claire Foy? Will it be Jessie Buckley? Not to mention the fact that the film also had Rooney Mara, who was being submitted for lead. Um, there's one person that nobody was really talking about, and that's my number 10 pick, Sheila McCarthy, for Women Talking. So, I thought she was fantastic. And for an actress I'm not familiar with, she came in and gave me sort of a heartbreaking and devastating performance in a series of heartbreaking and devastating performances. And this film, like I said, worked best when I reviewed it. I said it works best when it's doing what its title says, when the women are talking. When it tries to do other things and it deviates from that and it tries to world build, it's kind of where it starts to fall apart. But the performances from these actors are bar none, and I want more people to hear the name Sheila McCarthy. So at the end of the day, I left some people off the list that are having absolutely no problem having people say their name. And you're going to find out when they're not on the list coming on up. But I want to keep the suspense, so I'd rather not tell you who didn't make the list. You guys are all like, who is it? Who are the big drops here? I promise you, some people are going to be upset. Number 9 on my list is somebody who she did manage the Golden Globe nomination, and then her performance just fizzled out. But I have to say, Dolly De Leon was the best thing about Triangle of Sadness. Easily the best thing about Triangle of Sadness for me. And that was a film that I had to watch without audio description. And I got a little bit of her performance in the second act, but in the third act, her whole, I am the captain now type performance was delightful. And she just commanded the third act. She was like the person with any sort of survival instincts among a grouping of people who had absolutely no idea what they were doing. So she ended up having the power, and that was exactly everything we needed to break Dolly De Leon, I think, into this industry. I hope we get to see more of her in the future. I'm a little worried because she didn't get the nomination that maybe Dolly De Leon will just fade out. I always kind of wonder what happened to Adriana Barraza after Babel. And probably the same thing that happened to Dolly De Leon, where maybe she pops up in one or two things and we're like, oh, that was the person from that film. I hope not. I hope she gets cast, but we shall see. Number 8 on my list is going to be a name that you have not heard, I think, at all in awards season. This is definitely an outside the box pick. I didn't even give the film that high of a review, but I really thought Gina McKee was great in My Policeman. As we saw them bouncing back and forth between the two different generations, and there was a host of performances here, and there was the young half of the cast and the older half of the cast, and there was something about what Gina McKee was bringing to the performance the whole time. The twist isn't really revealed in that film until late in the film, and you can kind of see the nuance that she's bringing to the performance, the guilt and the why she's so devoted, why she stays there, and then it all kind of comes together, and then you sort of realize how great Gina McKee's been the whole time, because it's the things that are unsaid, and that's what I really loved about her performance. It's a shame that she didn't gain any traction. Her film just kind of died during Oscar season, and no one talked about her. But I think she deserves to be on my list. So, Gina McKee, welcome. Number 7 on my list is an Oscar nominee this year, and that's Hong Chow for The Whale. Maybe she feels a little low for you, maybe not. I kind of feel like this is one of those things where the leading performance is so tremendous that it's almost hard to match it. A little bit like what Tom Hardy gave in The Revenant. It's how do you... he's good, but oh my God, what is DiCaprio doing, It feels a little bit like that to me, and I think Hong Chow did some really good work. She had some really good scenes, and she's very sympathetic, and she had a great year. She was also in The Menu. So, yeah, I definitely wanted to make sure she showed up here on my list after seeing The Whale. And honestly, this was a tough one for me because really, I think all of the women of The Whale were good. So having to choose just one of them to represent the cast of The Whale, but I went with Hong Chow, just like everybody else has. I just think between her and Sadie Sink and Samantha Morton, I think hers was maybe the one that hits home the most. So, yeah. Hong Chow. Number 6 is somebody who's not gaining any awards attention. It was so good. It was my Black Panther Wakanda Forever, where he was a little aggressive, because I actually, once I finally saw it and I saw the attention that Angela Bassett was getting, it kind of pissed me off, because I was like, you would think that she's the only person in the film that can act, and it's absolutely not true. So my number 6 pick on this list is somebody who is getting shafted because Angela Bassett is soaking up all of the rays and the sunlight. And that's Denai Guerrera for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Her character in the first film, Okoye, is, I don't know. I don't care. I was like, okay, she's cool. I mean, it's Michonne from The Walking Dead. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I'd follow Denai anywhere, but I wouldn't necessarily call her performance awards worthy. And then she kind of, in this film, just goes to another level. I mean, she has like the stage experience and the live theater, and she's actually a much better actress than most of us ever know. And she really gets to show it. When she has lost, and she does not know where Shuri is, and she's sitting there and she's facing her queen, she's just devastated. She's devastated on like 18 different levels, and Denai plays all of them. And that scene it absolutely wrecked me. And it didn't wreck me because of Angela Bassett, it wrecked me because of Denai. You could feel that this was a warrior who the greatest punishment you could give her would be to prevent her from sacrificing herself for her people. And essentially that was what she was being denied at first. And she's sitting there and she's crying, and she just wants to make it right, and she doesn't understand what happened. She doesn't understand how she possibly could have failed. She's somebody who obviously has never encountered failure before. It was such an incredibly amazing performance, and one that really the ladies of Black Panther Wakanda Forever were all terrific this year. But I think by continuing to just talk about Angela Bassett like she's the second coming, we ended up kind of shafting the rest of the cast that also went through grief, that also experienced grief, and that also put grief onto film. It's just Angela Bassett is a legend, but I think Denai Guerrera is on her way of being a legend. So I am very happy that she's on my list, and I will fight anybody who believes that she doesn't deserve this spot. Coming out number 5 on my list is going to be a really interesting entry, because this is going to be one where people, I think, just are like, what the fuck? This is my big what the fuck. This is it. This is the what the fuck award of the year. But this performance hit me. We had a couple films this year that were about or featured versions of mass shootings, and there was The Fallout, which I did a pretty good job. It wasn't my favorite film of the year. I kind of started to lose me as the film progressed. And we even had the exceptional documentary Tree of Life, but we also had a film called Not Okay, which wasn't really about a real shooting so much as it was about how somebody pretended to be part of a shooting in order to avoid being caught in a lie, and how that snowballed out of control. But in the process, we got to meet a character played by Mia Isaac, who was a survivor of a mass shooting, and the trauma and everything that she experienced was real. And I really fell for Mia Isaac's performance. I thought she was incredible this year. She was also in another film, Don't Make Me Go. That was she was also great in that. She had a great year. She just did. And seeing her in this film, seeing her dealing with the stress and obviously the PTSD and coping with it. This is an easy film to write off, and I think a lot of people did. They threw this film away. It was like a Hulu film, and they're like, nah. But Mia Isaac's performance has stuck with me the whole year, and it stayed on my list. Remember, guys, I gave it to Katherine Hunter last year, so the fact that you're seeing like Gina McKee and Mia Isaac and Denai Guerrera really shouldn't surprise you at this point. I care not what other voting bodies think. So, moving on up the list to my number 4. My number 4 is Margot Robbie for Babylon. And I toyed with this. I toyed about, where do I put Margot Robbie? Is she lead? Is she supporting? I believe she's supporting. I think the story, after having seen Babylon, really does center on Diego Calva. He's literally like the first thing we're introduced to, and the film kind of rides out from there. And it's about the people that he interacts with and maneuvers with through in Hollywood. and one of those people becomes Margot Robbie. Now, I think she's been defaulted in the lead category because she's the largest female part in the film. There are some scenes that kind of focus on her, but we don't get... She never strays for too long. The camera never follows her too far away from Diego Calva's story. Diego Calva always feels like the anchor for the plot, which signals to me that Margot Robbie's performance is more of a tangent on Diego than necessarily controlling the narrative. She has that really great scene where she keeps trying to hit the mark, and it's the first talkie that she's doing, and that was such a great scene in Babylon. I know that it's not the first scene that people go to in Babylon. For her, I feel like they go to... It's easy to go to one of like the drug-induced scenes, right? It's so... feels so Margot Robbie, but there was something about the other scene that just, like, understanding the frustration of the actors and captivating that moment, and I think that was probably her best moment for me in that film. We see so many people constantly portraying drug use on film, and I don't know that it impresses me anymore that much. I think there has to be a little bit more to it. And Margot Robbie, what I loved is when she does break in, when she does break through. I love when she kind of screws around with that other actress and fucks with her. And, the actress finds the dildo. I love the things like that. I thought that was really creative. And when she's trying to climb her way to the top, those are my favorite moments. So Margot Robbie ends up on my list. Number 3 is somebody who could win this year. I don't think they will, but they absolutely could, and they're nominated in this category. And that is Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Like I said, I think she's fantastic, but I also think other people are fantastic. And I think you have to be very careful when you talk about the narrative of one person to make it not seem like some people, they are the one great memorable thing out of the film. I'm not really sure there's anything worth remembering out of Not Okay other than Mia Isaac. I don't think that that's a thing. For me, I feel pretty safe in saying Dolly De Leon is the best thing of Triangle of Sadness. I didn't really love the film. I loved her. I didn't love the rest of the film though. But for Black Panther, I was looking at these other scenes and these other performances from like Denny Guerrera and Letitia Wright, and thinking to myself, how are these performances not affecting people? Everybody's like, oh, Angela Bassett just had me. And it's like, I was just as devastated by the other two actresses. Angela wasn't the only one that lost Chadwick. And she may be the one that's portraying the mother that lost Chadwick, and then also had previously lost her husband. But, Letitia Wright's playing the person who lost her brother. And that's also equally impactful. But it's an incredible performance, and we don't get this in Marvel films usually. There's usually not a performance worth nominating out of a Marvel film. I came close. I'll be totally honest and say that I have loved Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal of Scarlet Witch, and she was on my shortlist. She's not in my top 10. I'll just say that right now. She ended up, I could not find a space. That Best Actress category was rough. So she's not in my top 10. But I could say that she was at one point earlier in the year when I hadn't seen enough films. She was very much in my top 10. So I don't want to say that there never are good performances. It doesn't exist. But the ones that stayed were the characters from Black Panther, who were all experiencing some level of grief and strength also at the same time, because they had to be strong for their country. Things were happening, and Angela Bassett had to take control real fast. And that was what was great. And this is a great performance, and I if it wins, I'm not mad. Even though I have another performance that's nominated ranked above her, that I obviously would have voted for based on, if you're counting who's nominated. If I was a voting member, I would have voted for another performance. I also would not be mad because, it's literally, she's one step below. And that is my runner-up, choice, my number 2 spot goes to Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin. I saw this for a second time, and she's an absolute force to be reckoned with in this film. There's no way around that. She just is. I think she benefits a lot from being the only female character with any sort of development that actually feels well-rounded in some case. And she holds her own, and she kind of balances the silliness between all these characters. And then you're not even mad at her when she leaves. You're just kind of like, yeah, I would leave too. Get the hell out of there. You know, I mean, there aren't even that many women, and she's single. And I think it speaks a lot to these guys and the silliness of their squabbles and what she has to probably put up with. And has been putting up with on a daily basis on Inisherin. So she gets the hell out. Good for her. But I thought Carrie Condon, she's tremendous, and the way she handles everything in that film is, she's got layers also to that performance. So she's my runner-up. So who won? I've been really critical of this actress because I think she has said a lot of dumb shit this year, and she has absolutely she said things like, I haven't seen the film, but I felt like the film I shot I was the lead of. That's dumb. First of all, see your fucking movie, please. There's a whole, there are hundreds of people who work below the line to make your film good, to make you look good, and they made you look really good. Yes, you are a talented person, an amazing actress, and this was an incredible performance, but it was a supporting performance, and my winner for supporting actress is Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, because this is where it belongs. This is where it belonged all the time. When this film hit the film festivals, immediately everybody was like, oh my god, this is the performance that's going to win supporting actress, this is the front runner, and then everybody would just jaw drops when they found out that she was running in lead actress. It was just like, what? And now she's not going to win. She could have easily won this category. Hands down, easily won this category. I believe that. If she was nominated this year, right now, for The Fabelmans, she would win supporting actress. There would be no Angela Bassett conversation. There would be no nothing. She's never won an Oscar before. And, done. Done deal. Sealed. Signed, sealed, delivered. But she screwed up her own Oscar campaign by saying that mothers are leads. They're not always leads. No, that's not how that works. You just can't say it. You actually have to read the script. You have to read the script and figure out who does the film center around? Who's controlling the narrative? Who does the film follow? The film follows Sammy Fabelman, not his mother. You were a supporting performance, but you were fantastic. You were great in every single frame. The dancing out there when everybody's watching the mother dance is great. Oh my god, that scene where she watches what Sammy put together and her realization of everything, it just washes over her, of not just the remembrance, not just the footage that he captured of the happy times, but also the fact that she allowed herself to be in a position where Sammy could see that, where Sammy did pick up on that, and it's just devastating. It's a devastating performance. Michelle Williams is one of the greatest actresses that we have working, and I will give her shit forever for submitting in lead when she had an easy win for supporting actress. But there are no four-year considerations for my list, so she is my pick for Best Supporting Actress. Last year it was Katherine Hunter. This year it's Michelle Williams. Who will it be next year? I have no idea. But that's my Best Supporting Actress top 10. It was really hard to make. And yes, I did leave off Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Hsu. There are no supporting actresses for Everything Everywhere All at Once. When I rewatched that film for a second time, it actually really made me feel more and more like that was a Michelle Yeoh film rather than a Michelle Yeoh and Friends. I just felt it showed me it actually made that gap wider, which made it easier for me to leave them off. They were already sort of down in the bottom of my top 10, but it allowed me to keep people on the list like Dalla De Leon and Sheila McCarthy, who were, and Gina McKean, people like that. So yeah, I left them off, and I'm fine with that. So thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. You can let me know how much you hate my list or who you think should have been on it in the comments. Please subscribe. I'm coming up with more lists as Oscar week continues, and I will see you on the other side.